I just got back from the Catoctin Mountains. They're about 90 minutes northwest of my apartment here, just outside of D.C. It was a very hastily improvised road trip. I'd been out walking in the Antietam battlefield for a while, and I thought, well, maybe I can just squeeze in a hike today before I go home. So I jumped in the car and I headed out to Catoctin Mountain Park. Got there, drove about a mile into the forest to a very small parking lot, got out and started to hike on a series of trails I know. It was 3:30 by then, didn't have a lot of time to go. You do not want to get caught anywhere near dark, that deep in the woods. It can get very ugly. The weather was cold, been cold all day and kind of wet and gray and windy. So I didn't see any other hikers, which made sense. So I figured what I do is I go straight down the main trail that I knew, do an out and back, walk for 40 minutes, look at the time, and come back, and that would give me time to get back to my car. I was walking about 10 minutes, and then I did see other hikers. It was a group of 7 or 8 of them together, coming down the opposite way. They were older people that stood out first thing. Not one of them was under 50. And the other odd thing was that 2 of them were holding infants, swaddled close, in their chests, very carefully and delicately. And that actually wasn't really that strange, because that close to Pennsylvania, you'll see sometimes, I don't know if it's the Amish or the Mennonites, they'll come down and they'll hike on the weekends in the Catoctins with their families, and they always have children with them of all ages. So that was a little bit odd, but not terribly so. They didn't make any sort of eye contact with me as they passed. I had to actually sort of move off the trail a little bit to kind of let them go by. And I took the opportunity to swig some water and pause, and I was watching them, and they went down about another 30 yards, and then they all took a right turn and started going down a side trail deeper into the woods. And my first thought was, well, I hope they understand how much time they have left before it does get dark, because it gets dark quick in the mountains. You don't realize it coming in so fast. But they seemed to know where they were going. They seemed to have a real sense of purpose. So off they went deeper in the woods. And then I moved on down the main trail. I kept walking. I never really got warmed up. It was just so bitter out there. Went down, reached the 40-minute mark, stopped, took one more drink of water, then started to head back, keeping a very close eye on the sky. Still didn't see anybody else out there, except for those people. And when I was starting to get within range of where that had happened, and I was starting to think I was getting close to my car, I saw that group come out of the woods again, come off that side trail onto the main one. It was the same 7 or 8 people, and the thing is, this time, those infants were gone. They didn't have those babies clutching to their chests. Both of them were not there anymore. And one of the women, she had her head up to her forehead like this, and she was visibly in distress. And she sort of leaned against, I assume it was her husband, leaned against him as she walked very slowly, he kind of leading her out. So they took a left turn onto the main trail, facing away from me. I stood back watching them, letting them go, giving them the right of way. And they walked on in the general direction of the parking lot. I thought, that's so odd. So I walked forward to the intersection of the main trail and that side one, and I looked into the woods. And I wanted to know where they had come from. I wanted to know where they had gone. I'd assumed it was to, see some scenic overlook that I didn't know about. I thought, well, I don't know if I have time to explore this. It's getting dark, but I decided to go. I started walking down this very, very thin, dense trail, and it became obvious that it was unmarked. It was not an official trail. It was almost dead straight, very little variation, no elevation gain or loss. Just kept tramping through the woods, and at about the quarter-mile mark, I realized I had run out of time. This was getting too dangerous to be exploring. But then the woods did open up, and the trail just sort of ended. And it ended at a small, serene, perfectly still black pond. The reeds all around it. And there was not a single ripple in the pond, despite the breeze. It was just kind of dead, and there was no animal sounds. There's no nothing. As I stood there and looked at it, I saw that the moon was already clearly visible in the sky, and the light was fading. I just couldn't drag my eyes away from that pond for a while. And finally, I sort of came back to real consciousness and reminded myself I had to go. So I turned and began to move back down that skinny path, moving more swiftly this time. And in 10 minutes, I reached the intersection of that and the main one, and I took a left. And I started walking very quickly back to my car, and in 10 minutes, there was the parking lot. My car was the only one there, and now that I think of it, I swear when I had first pulled in, it was the same thing. My car was the only one. I got in, I started the engine, I turned the heat on full blast, and I drove home. And that's where I've been for the last hour and a half. Just sort of thinking about what I saw.